First tonight in Our News Live at 7, only a handful left. Our Joshua Williams talks to some of the only remaining residents left in the Tiwa shantytown after an eviction notice was posted last month. Plus, coming in November, $5 million worth of government savings bonds will be available for Bahamians and permanent residents. We have the details. And food, fun, and fundraising. Our Danielle Miller takes us inside this year's Bridgerton-themed Paradise Plates event. And then in Our News at 7:30, the details on the close call of the Uriah McPhee Primary School fire, prompting a swift evacuation and early dismissal of students. All that and more as Our News Live at 7 starts right now. Welcome to Our News Live at 7, and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Marlena Leonard, in for Candino Knowles. Scores of residents in the Tiwa shantytown have moved out of the illegal community. The exodus prompted by a 28-day eviction notice that expired nearly a month ago. The Cowpen Road shantytown is the latest unregulated community set to be demolished by the Unregulated Community Action Task Force. Our Joshua Williams visited that community this morning, where he spoke with one of the few remaining residents. Let's take a look.
Broken structures like this are what mostly remain of the Tiwa shantytown. Ahead of demolition day, most of its residents gone. It was back on August 1st when these eviction notices were placed on homes in this unregulated community by the Action Task Force. In the days followed, we spoke to some of the residents who say they would leave. Fast forward to today, the majority have left and only a handful of residents remain. Canel is one of them.
Plenty of people in there, they trying to leave. And they still pay rent. Them BMN people get houses for rent. They give these people back their money. They ain't nowhere to go, so they trying to leave. But plenty of BMN people today work for, they say they can't go on.
This would be the latest shantytown to be demolished, following several in the capital and Abaco and Eleuthera dating to last October. As Canel took me through some of the now abandoned homes, it painted the picture of how people lived there. Cramped rooms with no proper flooring, collapsed roofing, and improper bathroom facilities. He says this impoverished style of living boils down to poor wages.
Sometimes you still work, you work. They ain't pay you. Once you call them on phone, they answer you. Why? They treat Asian like slaves. So I know plenty of Bahamian people, they like Asian. Asian working hard. They like Asian because Asian work hard. They don't want to pay.
And like other shantytowns I visited, residents claim they pay rent to Bahamian owners and added cost to what they say is a hard lifestyle. Many of them prepared to return to Haiti.
They working hard every day. They trying to pay rent. They ain't find nowhere to live. That's the reason you see these people living here. It done good this morning in Haiti, right on Bahamas here.
And with the 28-day eviction notice past due, officials say they have not forgotten and that the public should expect an announcement soon. Reporting for Our News, I'm Joshua Williams.
Thanks for that, Josh. Well, a man who allegedly shot and killed his girlfriend's brother is behind bars. Prosecutors say Tuano Missick is responsible for the April 28th murder of Levon Williamson. The victim was at his home in Yellow Elder Gardens when Missick arrived and allegedly shot Williamson following an argument. Missick, the former subject of a wanted bulletin, didn't have to enter a plea to the murder charge when he stood before Magistrate Algernon Allen Jr. Bail was denied, and Missick returns to court in February to receive voluntary bill of indictment papers. And a startling percentage of homicides in the country over the past 5 years were committed with a gun. That's according to Minister of National Security Wayne Monroe, who says it's a common problem faced across the Caribbean. Monroe made the comments during the opening ceremony of the Bahamas Interinstitutional Roundtable meetings of the Caribbean Firearms Roadmap that was held at police headquarters. Here's the breakdown.
Recent data suggests that over a 5-year period, approximately 90% of the homicides in the Bahamas were committed using firearms. Across the Caribbean, similar trends persist, and according to the Small Arms Survey 2023 of the region, firearms are being used in 70% of all homicides regionally. This figure is significantly higher than the global average of 30%. And rather disturbing, considering that the Caribbean has less than 1% of the world's population.
Starting in November, Bahamians will have the option to purchase Bahamas government savings bonds. At the launch of the government savings bonds issue, Central Bank Governor John Rowles says they will initially offer $5 million worth of government bonds, but it could increase to somewhere between $10 or $17 million worth, depending on public interest.
This program is designed to facilitate easier access to savings opportunities and to encourage increased savings by making it possible for individuals to build up their holdings in affordable increments. From the outset, it will allow investors to benefit from interest rates that are as good or better than they can earn on fixed deposits. Individuals will also have the flexibility to withdraw savings early if they encounter any urgent need of funds.
The central bank governor saying while there are some similarities to Bahamas government registered stocks, there are important differences when it comes to the savings bonds.
Only individuals who are Bahamian citizens and permanent residents will be allowed to purchase savings bonds. Institutional investors and institutions will not be allowed to invest in savings bonds. The fact that the amount, the starting amount, is not a great hurdle, $100. And you encourage people to invest in increments of 100, and if necessary, to plan how over time, in incremental amount, they can increase the amount of funds that they set aside for a savings bond. So we think that is also important, and that really underlines the discipline or the disciplinary aspect of, becoming very regimented around the investments in the bonds.
It's time now for your first look at temperatures. Meteorologist Greg Thompson is standing by in the Weather Center. Greg?
Yeah, thanks, Marlene, and happy Tuesday evening, everybody. A pretty nice evening setting up on the outside, still under the influence of high pressure. Temperature right now is 85 degrees with a few clouds. It is still breezy. The pressure gradient now starting to tighten. It connected with that system down the southwest. We'll tell you about that. 50 miles per hour is what it's blowing at. 94 degrees is your actual feels like temperature. Other temperatures around the islands tonight, it's 84 in Freeport, Grand Bahama, Great Harbor Key and the Berries, 85 Alistown, Bimini, over in Marsh Harbor, Abaco, 83, 85 also in Governor's Harbor here in the capital, and Nicholstown, Andros, you guys are 86, Central Bahamas, 83, Kemps Bay, pick up more 84s in Arthurstown, Cat Island, Coburn, Townsend, Salvador, Georgetown, the Exumas, 85 with some isolated thunderstorms nearby, 85 in Deadman's Key and into the southeast Bahamas. 85 is once again Duncantown, Ragged Island, Colonel Hill, Cricket Island, Delectable Bay, 86, 84 in Abrahams Bay, isolated showers there, 85 in Matthewtown, Inagua, and good neighbors to the southeast, Turks and Caicos Islands, you have a temperature of 86 right now. Taking a look at our satellite radar composite, quiet across our area, high pressure still in charge, but we still have some high level clouds moving across our area courtesy of this system down there. That is now Tropical Storm Helene that formed earlier today. And notice the radar starting to pick up some showers and thunderstorms. This is right out of Key West. This system is getting its act together. It's expected to continue to track towards the west-northwest and move through the gap there between the Yucatan Peninsula and the western portion of Cuba, and expected to strengthen rather rapidly to a hurricane by tonight. That's your first look at weather. Stick with us. Look at your extended forecast. We'll tell you more about Helene later on in our newscast.
Still to come on Our News, the talk of the ton. Danielle Miller tells us all about this year's Bridgerton-themed Paradise Plates party.
Welcome to Our Sports, presented by 10th Year Seniors. I'm Ronaldo Dorset. Let's do show. Aiden Johnson is the latest Bahamian baseball prospect to be highly ranked in his respective signing class. Johnson checks in at number 11 on MLB Pipeline's list of the top 50 prospects for the 2025 international signing period. Johnson, the only Bahamian listed for the class thus far, is a 6'2", 180-pound infielder who trains out of the Fortuna training facility in Plant City, Florida. MLB Pipeline talent evaluators consider Johnson a polished prospect with MLB-level physicality at a young age. The championship drought has finally ended for the police Crime Stoppers. The Crime Stoppers reclaimed the Bahamas Government Departmental Basketball Association championship title for the first time since 2016. They completed a 4-game sweep of the Nassau Flight Services Ballers with a 91-79 win Monday night at the D.W. Davis Gymnasium.
2 out of the 4 games, those guys, they went out on us, and we came back in the fourth quarter. Last night, and the night we came out from the quack of the gun. All right? So I want to give thanks to my God and also to my teammate, Crime Stoppers for Life.
Anton Richardson and the New York Mets are in the midst of a heated playoff race for the final wildcard spot in the National League. Headed into tonight's matchup, the Mets hold an 87-69 record, leading the 85-71 Atlanta Braves by 2 games in the wildcard standings. The teams open their pivotal 3-game series tonight. If the Mets can clinch 2 of 3 games against the Braves, they'll pretty much book their ticket to the postseason. That'll do it for our sports. This is 10YS. I'm Ronaldo. Back to the studio.
When our news comes back from the break, we turn our spotlight to stories making headlines across the world, where at least 558 people were killed by Israeli airstrikes in Lebanon. And the specialized divers working the wreckage of the $40 million sunken superyacht that sank off Sicily last month, now concerned that sensitive data locked in its watertight safes may interest foreign governments. We have the details when Our News returns. This is Our News. Welcome back. We turn our attention now to stories making headlines across the world. As cross-border attacks between Israel and Hezbollah continue, at least 558 people were killed by Israeli airstrikes on Monday, including 50 children and 94 women. Among those killed were 4 first responders. Lebanese officials say in total, 1,835 people were wounded by the strikes. The violence has prompted the UN human rights chief to call on anyone with influence in the Middle East to avert any further escalation in hostilities between Israel and Hezbollah. Specialist divers surveying the wreckage of the $40 million superyacht that sank off Sicily last month are asking for heightened security to guard the vessel. They're concerned that sensitive data locked in its watertight safes may interest foreign governments. Italian prosecutors have opened up a criminal probe into multiple charges of manslaughter and negligent shipwreck. The sunken vessel, lying on the seabed at a depth of some 164 feet, is thought to have the watertight safes. The British-flagged Bayesian superyacht was carrying 22 people when it capsized and sank within minutes of being hit by a fierce storm. In St. Kitts, the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions in St. Kitts and Nevis has announced plans to initiate a formal investigation into the administration of the Citizenship by Investment program. The investigation comes in response to concerns raised in recent years about the program's administration before the recent reforms. The DPPO says it plans on appointing a special prosecutor from a foreign jurisdiction to lead the inquiry. St. Kitts and Nevis CBI program offers citizenship to individuals who make substantial financial contributions or investments in government-approved real estate or development projects. Still to come in Our News, Today in History. Find out interesting facts about the day that was September 24th. And then in Our News at 7:30, a school day that didn't go as planned as a fire forced a swift evacuation. We have a video of the effort to tame the blaze. And the central bank's potential solution to tackling the issue of banking fees, saying it may require banks to offer a new kind of bank account where fees are regulated. That's coming up when Our News returns. On this day in Bahamian history, on the 24th of September 1998, Hurricane George passed through the Bahamas as a Category 1 hurricane, causing 1 death in the country. Fast forward to 2014, then National Security Minister Bernard Nottage addressed public outcry over a spike in murders that year, saying the Christie administration would not have to go back to the drawing board when it came to tackling crime. His comments appeared to contradict statements made by the then Prime Minister Perry Christie just weeks earlier. Following the murders of 5 people in August 2014, including the PM's press secretary, Latore Mackey, Christie admitted that the government has a lot of work to do. He said his administration would rework its plan to fight crime and go back to the drawing board. When Nottage was asked whether he feels the government needs to rework its crime strategy, he gave this response.
Going back to the drawing board, I think that what we need to do is to expand our programs, listen to what people are saying, because there's a lot of impact to be obtained with suggestions from the public.
Then in 2021, Prime Minister Philip Davis signed an amended emergency order that removed the requirement for a travel health visa for inter-island travel, but negative COVID-19 tests were still required. The policy had been in place since March 2020. That day, Health Minister Dr. Michael Darville gave the reason for the change.
We did not see the significance of the travel visa, and we said it very clearly that once the opportunity arises, we would eliminate it. So we did an assessment with the travel visa inter-island, and we found it to be a very cumbersome thing to do, and we found a lot of individuals in the family islands, particularly those suffering from non-communicable diseases, chronic, and need to travel back and forth to the capital. They were finding difficulty to do so, and what we decided to do is eliminate the travel visa inter-island, which means that those individuals who are on our family island who need to come to New Providence, the only thing you need to do is you need to have an approved, government-approved antigen test.
This past weekend proved to be a tasty one, with thousands of locals basking in a food and beverage paradise. Hands for Hunger's signature fundraising event, Paradise Plates, returned with a big bang on Saturday night, attracting more than 1,000 guests who partied for a worthy cause. Our Danielle Miller has the highlights.
It's one of the biggest fundraisers of the year, hosted by Hands for Hunger. Paradise Plates gave us a night full of surprises and ushered us in to great entertainment in a grand way.
The much-anticipated event is a proponent of food assistance from corporate entities and thousands of guests from the community. Paradise Plates is a fundraiser for Hands for Hunger's Pantries, which currently services 5,000 families and 16 schools. Under a Bridgerton theme, ambiance and decor displayed in Atlantis' Imperial Ballroom made me feel like a member of the Ton. In my best Lady Whistledown voice, dearest viewers, as you promenade through the venue, there was a pianist, the iconic green carpet, cigar lounge, an endless array of food from the island's top chefs, delightful beverages, and ravishing fashions. Just like any ball hosted in the Ton, a key component is the entertainment. Organizers have seemed to found a sweet spot when it comes to this aspect. However, this year they decided to amplify their display of support to the arts and entertainment industry. With visual artists, musicians, and DJs, a wide range of talent was showcased to a space filled with country leaders, business executives, countrymen and women, including an art gallery.
When we were talking to Hands for Hunger, and they asked us if we would like to kind of be a part of the art experience, we was like, well, yeah, because what we could do is bring one of our mock-up booths for Fuse here.
This was definitely a first time ever in terms of like grandeur, like in level of performance. This is our first time in Atlantis ballroom ever. We definitely reached a new audience that we probably wouldn't have gotten to in such a mass scale.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Danielle Miller.
Thanks for that, Danny. Well, to watch that story again and for all of today's top stories, you can visit ournews.bs. That does it for Our News at 7. Joining us now is our Megan Shepherd with the latest headlines. Megan?
Thanks so much for that, Marlena. Great report, Danielle. Well, coming up tonight at Our News at 7:30, a fire forces early dismissal at a local primary school. We get an update on a family who lost their home to a fire earlier this year, and we talk to one of the recent 40 under 40 honorees. Here are your latest headlines.
Stop, drop, and roll. Quick thinking saves the lives of hundreds of primary school students after an early morning blaze. Plus, he survived the HMBS Flamingo and then a house fire. Tonight, a former Defense Force officer shares his story of rebuilding his home. And over in Grand Bahama, officers uncovering a hydroponic lab believed to be used for the cultivation of marijuana. We'll tell you what we know so far. And later, celebrating young excellence, an honoree of the 40 Under 40 Recognition Awards shares his journey in the arena of sports. Our News Live at 7:30 starts now.
If you travel throughout the Family Islands, then you may be happy to know that several Family Island airports are set to receive major upgrades. It's all thanks to the Bahamian government's Family Island Renaissance strategy. Director of Aviation and Deputy Director General of Tourism, Dr. Kenneth Romer, explains.
A year ago, we identified 14 airports targeted for immediate development. That excludes, of course, projects that were already in the project pipelines like Grand Bahama and Great Harbor Key. So what the government determined was that airports needed upgrades to address some of the customer service deficiencies. They required upgrades to attract more international airlift. And of course, a lot of these airports have outgrown their existing capacity.
Recently, the government inked a $55 million loan agreement with the Saudi Fund for Development, which will go toward major upgrades to the North Eleuthera International Airport. Dr. Romer shares what this entails.
Eleuthera was one of the islands where all of the airports were a part of the Family Islands Renaissance, the portfolio of airports that are going to be addressed. North Eleuthera, of course, came in at about a capital investment of $55 million on the terminal side. So I want to be very clear, this particular loan signing ceremony with the Saudi Fund for Development is just to expedite repairs on the terminal side, the building, the facilities. In addition, Eleuthera will be very pleased, North Eleuthera, to know that some $19+ million has already been secured with the IDB to address now the airside deficiencies. So this is going to be a project that's going to be accelerated. It's going to be a state-of-the-art airport. It is going to really create opportunities for entrepreneurs. We're going to go out very soon to tender. But the most important thing now was to secure the funding to accelerate the upgrades to this airport.
For more updates on upgrades to Family Island airports, be sure to follow the Ministry of Works and Family Island Affairs on all social media platforms. Until next time, I'm Jamila Mizik, keeping you in the know about what's in the works.
Welcome to Our News, and thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm Megan Shepard. Uriah McPhee Primary School officials had a close call today when a fire broke out on campus, prompting a swift evacuation and early dismissal of students. The incident occurred mid-morning during an assembly. Now, despite the danger, Vice Principal Joyce Brown confirmed that there were no injuries in an interview with our news team. According to a statement released by the Ministry of Education, the fire accumulated an excessive amount of smoke, forcing teachers and staff to act fast, implementing emergency protocols to ensure the safety of everyone on the grounds. According to the Vice Principal, the fire occurred on the first floor behind a grade 1 classroom.
Mr. Farrington, one of our student teachers, practice, he came down shouting, "Miss Brown, fire, real fire." So at that time, I told the staff and students to exit through the welcome room and the front door. And then Mr. Farrington pursued upstairs with the help of Miss Ware, senior mistress, and Miss Robertson, and our grade 3 teacher, Miss Burrows, and other support staff to extinguish the fire. We used 5 extinguishers to put out the fire, and it was contained. After we got the children under the pavilion, the DS was called, and then we called the fire engine.
Brown says fire crews arrived promptly to contain the blaze, which was restricted to a small section of the school. The cause of the fire remains under investigation. Brown reassured parents that school officials are working closely with authorities to assess damages and determine when classes can resume. In the meantime, school will be suspended for 2 days and students will be engaged in virtual learning. Meanwhile, President of the Bahamas Union of Teachers, Belinda Wilson, was grateful that there was no loss of life.
Our area vice president for New Providence and our shop steward for the school is on the ground and keeping me updated. And we are relieved and thank God that no lives were lost and no one was injured. The fire department and the Ministry of Education mobilized quickly, and we await the outcome of the investigation.
Meantime, a former military officer who survived the HMBS Flamingo attack spent his 65th birthday rebuilding his family home that was destroyed by fire several months ago. Our Joshua Williams caught up with Captain Whitfield Neely today as he celebrated by helping him reconstruct his home.
It's a story of hope and rebirth. Just 4 months after a fire destroyed the Neely home, they're well on their way to constructing a new one. On May 31st, the Neely family escaped with their lives and little else after their Yellow Elder home went up in flames. Revisiting the site today, construction was well underway.
We're still here on the ground working. We're trying our best. We're working arduously, doing a lot of stuff. There's just a few of us and we're still working, and things are working out very well. And I'd still like to reiterate to the Bahamian public, thank you very much for your support.
Neely is one of the most decorated officers to serve on the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, a national hero, and one of 15 survivors of the HMBS Flamingo tragedy in 1980. He says one of his longtime friends and former Marine is the contractor on the project, and 2 other workers are helping get the job done.
That's what I did with the last house. I did that too. So I'm still here building this one. I have a very good friend here with me, Leslie Forbes. He and I worked together for many years. We've been working on the Defense Force for 30 plus years together. We used to sail together. We lived on a ship that had about it couldn't have been more than a 24 square foot cabin. And we lived in that for years together working. And he came and he said, boy, Whitfield, I come in to help you with your house. And he's been here from day one.
His son, Osano Neely, says his father's strength and resilience is something that makes him the perfect role model.
I look at it and I think he couldn't be at all. You know, he could be home, kick up and not check in, but he could also be 6 feet in the ground. And for that, I'm grateful to still have him, you know. I have so many people, I know so many people that have lost their fathers at young ages, so to have him is an amazing thing. And like he said, you know, he told us that he'd build the house back, and that's exactly what he's doing.
The Neelys say they hope to move in by Christmas. Reporting for Our News, I'm Joshua Williams.
Awesome update. Well, meantime, police making a shocking discovery in Freeport this morning. The media was called to the scene on Espin Road this afternoon as authorities conducted their initial investigation of a hydroponic lab equipped with sophisticated machinery, marijuana plants, and other THC products. Assistant Commissioner of Police Shanty telling reporters shortly after 10 a.m. officers arrived at the home and conducted a search.
We've been working this information for the past few weeks, and I'm proud to see that we were able to execute and was very successful with this operation this morning. We have taken 4 persons into custody, an adult male and 3 females.
For the first time in history, the senior New Year's Day Junkanoo Parade on Grand Bahama will shift to January 9th, 2025 to coincide with the Majority Rule holiday. The announcement coming on Monday morning during a press briefing. In this report, we speak with Grand Bahamians to get their view on the move. Italia Hall reports.
This year on Grand Bahama, 2 Junkanoo parades are set to take place. The senior Junkanoo parade titled Pine Yard Rush will be held in Freeport on January 9, 2025. Meanwhile, a separate parade called the People's Rush will occur in West End on January 1, 2025. Additionally, the route for the Freeport parade will change from Pioneers Way to Explorers Way. Culture Minister Mario Bolag has said this new date for the senior parade aims to attract both domestic and international visitors to the island. However, opinions among Grand Bahamian residents are mixed regarding the date change.
The groups have more time to get themselves prepared instead of rushing. Because I rush for classic dances.
I feel like it's a good way of us basically welcoming in our culture to show of all of the people who was before us and all the hard work that they did. So I think that it's a good thing.
I don't think there would be a problem. Bahamians would enjoy it whatever day it's on.
However, former chairman of the Grand Bahama Junkanoo Corporation and member of the Swingers Junkanoo Group, Mark Gardner, has an opposing view about the new date.
I feel to move, in my opinion, a New Year's Day parade to any other day other than New Year's, outside of the reasons of death of a national hero or inclement weather, is simply ludicrous and borderline disrespectful. In fact, I'm surprised the Junkanoo leaders signed on for that.
The former chairman is questioning the rationale behind the decision, as he believes the reasons provided are insufficient.
the parade for Grand Bahama is for the community of Grand Bahama. All of the participants in the parade reside in Grand Bahama. So for those traveling in, that's gravy. I don't understand why they would stop a show.
Grand Bahama residents Maxwell Campbell and Omar Isaac share similar sentiments on the parade changes.
I think they need to leave Junkanoo the same. That's a tradition.
And I feel like it's an unsubstantiated claim that visitor arrivals will be bolstered to the island if we were to move it. Says who?
Reporting for Our News, I'm Italia Hall.
Thanks so much, Italia. Well, beautiful conditions on this Tuesday afternoon, but as to what we can expect for the remainder of the week, well, meteorologist Greg Thompson joins us now with your first look at temperatures. Greg.
Yeah, thanks, Megan, and a happy Tuesday evening, everybody. Pretty nice conditions on the outside right now. 85 degrees is our current temperature with a few clouds. It is breezy out there. East-southeast winds at 15 miles per hour. Feels like temperature hanging out in the low 90s, 94 is what it feels like on the outside. Satellite radar composite, quiet across area. Some high-level clouds associated with this tropical system down near the southwestern Caribbean. That's going to continue to filter across our area. We did have a couple isolated showers just to the west of the Andros area and into the Florida Straits, but Tropical Storm Helene formed early this morning, now going to be moving towards the west-northwest and into the Gulf of Mexico. And it should bring us some windy conditions over the next couple of days, as well as some showers associated with the outer bands. That's a quick check on conditions around the island. Stick with us. Look at your extended forecast as still to come.
When our news comes back from the break, it's a hot button issue, banking in the Bahamas. The central bank revealing ideas for a possible solution to high banking fees. Plus, staying on your P's and Q's. We'll tell you how to avoid becoming a victim to cybercrime. Those details when our news returns.
Bahamas, are you ready? Keep the vibe alive. Music group along with Alpha Sounds presents the best of the best. Rake and Scrape Explosion Reloaded. This is the biggest one-day all-Bahamian concert of the year. Featuring KB, D-Mac, Abby, Mama D, Fan Sean, Shine 242, The Falcons, and more. Mark your calendars. It's going down November the 2nd at Super Club Breezes Ground. Tickets now available at BahamasEtickets.com or both Beauty Shack location. General admission $60. VIP, Skybox, and Sky Pods also available. For more info, call 394-0819 or email keepthevibealive242@gmail.com. Experience the magic once again with more legends for one night only. Come party with us November 2nd at Best of the Best. Rake and Scrape Explosion Reloaded.
I love my EV. I am Generation E.
I am Generation E. I am Generation E.
And I am Generation E.
I'm Michaela Kerr. I'm an 18-year-old freshman at the University of the Bahamas, and I'm a computer science major. I'm also the NT Corporation's Youth Ambassador for the Environment, and I'm an environmentalist. My journey as the environmental advocate began with a simple yet profound realization that our environment is degrading right in front of my eyes. And being NT's Youth Ambassador for the Environment means that my words and my actions hold the power to help change the environment and the world around me. I find it exciting that I can be a student, live my life, and use my words and my voice to change the environment and world around me. Most times I think it's a privilege. It's our environment and it's our generation to own. I don't think as a young person that there's anything more rewarding than being a part of bringing awareness. I'm Michaela Kerr, and I'm making a difference in my own words.
Bahamas Power and Light Company Limited looks forward to helping our customers eliminate wasted energy. Energy conservation is the decision and practice of using less energy. Energy efficiency means using less energy to perform the same task, unplugging appliances not in use. That's energy conservation. Replacing an old refrigerator, washing machine with a new model, adding insulation to the attic and walls of a home. That's energy efficiency. People conserve to gain more control over their energy bill and to reduce demand on the Earth's natural resources. Take this journey with us as we build for better. BPL.
Grand Bahama is home to a unique economic arrangement, with that arrangement between government and the Grand Bahama Port Authority under scrutiny as tensions persist.
It's not our direct responsibility to carry out these other things that people think we should be doing.
We need this to be dealt with quicker than quicker and sooner than sooner.
I have a vision for Grand Bahama, and my vision is actually bigger than my grandfather's ever was.
Watch City in Focus, the story of Freeport with Italia Hall, starting August 7th only on RTV.
Tackling the issue of banking fees may require banks to offer a new kind of bank account where fees are regulated. That's according to some experts. High banking fees have been a hot topic for many Bahamians lately, with politicians from both sides of the aisle acknowledging its need to be addressed. Central Bank Governor John Roll, while at a launch for the Bahamas government savings bonds, revealing that the central bank has an idea for a possible solution to that problem.
The Bahamas, we see that one of the solutions would be that you have what we call a basic banking product. A basic banking product would be an account that individuals have access to where there's more regulated control around the cost of that facility. So it would be a way of providing some pricing parameters within a defined range for what we call a basic banking or a transactional account.
The central bank governor says we would not be the first to do this, pointing to other countries using this method in parts of Europe and the Caribbean.
It's happening now in many of the Dutch islands of the Caribbean. So we have examples in terms of their approach, and we're looking at how we can, adopt those or adapt those, for the Bahamian case.
Well, as cases of hacking and cyber fraud are on the rise in today's digital age, the security of personal devices such as smartphones has become a top priority. Shakira Johnson, who serves as the Director of Information Security at Cable Bahamas, weighed in with essential advice to help the public safeguard their cell phones from potential hacks.
We've gotten reports of persons that would have received phone calls from an unknown person or would have been added to a group by an unknown person, and in turn now they're being asked for the security code for their WhatsApp, and then at that point now you're giving that person access to your WhatsApp and giving them the ability to download your WhatsApp account on their personal device.
Individuals are also advised to be extra careful when answering foreign or strange numbers requesting information.
Persons are receiving regular phone calls from persons who are purporting to be from a legitimate company, sometimes your banking organization, and asking you for your credit card information. So we impress on everyone to be very, very cautious, be very suspicious all the time. If you are receiving a text message, a call, or an email from somebody you do not know, somebody you did not contact, be very cautious. Do not share your information.
It's now time for tonight's Financial Market Minute, brought to you by RF, your local investment bank. This has been your Financial Market Minute. To explore the best performing mutual funds in the Bahamas, visit our website at www.rfgroup.com.
Still to come on Our News, celebrating Bahamian excellence. 40 Bahamians under 40 celebrated this weekend. We hear from one of the honorees. But first,
coming up in sports, we tell you about the latest Bahamian baseball prospect preparing to make an impact on the 2025 signing class and check in on Anton Richardson's New York Mets in the NL wildcard race.
And Greg is back with your extended weather forecast. Stick with us.
Welcome to Our Sports, presented by 10th Year Seniors. I'm Ronaldo Dorset. Let's do show. Aiden Johnson is the latest Bahamian baseball prospect to be highly ranked in his respective signing class. Johnson checks in at number 11 on MLB Pipeline's list of the top 50 prospects for the 2025 international signing period. Johnson, the only Bahamian listed for the class thus far, is a 6'2", 180-pound infielder who trains out of the Fortuna training facility in Plant City, Florida. MLB Pipeline talent evaluators consider Johnson a polished prospect with MLB-level physicality at a young age. Johnson continues a family legacy on the diamond, following in the footsteps of his older brother, Paris Johnson, who signed with the LA Dodgers organization in July 2022. The international signing period will open on January 15, 2025 and run through December 15. In recent years, it has become a life-changing occasion for Bahamian teenage prospects who have signed pro contracts to enter the minor league systems of their respective clubs. In the class of 2024, 8 Bahamians signed minor league deals. The championship drought has finally ended for the Police Crime Stoppers. The Crime Stoppers reclaimed the Bahamas Government Departmental Basketball Association championship title for the first time since 2016. They completed a 4-game sweep of the Nassau Flight Services Ballers with a 91-79 win Monday night at the D.W. Davis Gymnasium.
2 out of the 4 games, those guys, they went out on us and we came back in the fourth quarter. Last night and the night, we came out from the clock of the gun. All right, so I want to give thanks to my God and also to my teammate, Crime Stoppers for life.
Kurt Farrington led the Crime Stoppers with a team-high 25 points. Dion McPhee had 22 points and 9 rebounds. Adorn Charlo had 9 points and 9 boards, while Cameron Cherry finished with 8 points and 9 boards. Lamont McPhee led the Ballers with 27 points and 11 rebounds, both game highs. Abel Joseph finished with 20 points and 10 rebounds, and Antonio Baptiste just missed another double-double with 9 points and 10 rebounds.
We dug deep. It wasn't easy. No closeout games, normally the hardest. My guys suck it up. They dug deep, and we really wanted. We was hungry, and we got it done.
Anton Richardson and the New York Mets are in the midst of a heated playoff race for the final wildcard spot in the National League. Headed into tonight's matchup, the Mets hold an 87-69 record, leading the 85-71 Atlanta Braves by 2 games in the wildcard standings. The teams open their pivotal 3-game series tonight. If the Mets can clinch 2 of 3 games against the Braves, they'll pretty much book their ticket to the postseason. If they win at least 1 game, they'll retain control of their own destiny heading into the final season series against Milwaukee. The Mets are 19-9 against Atlanta at home in recent seasons, but have struggled on the road in Georgia since the 1994 season at just 26-44. That'll do it for Our Sports. This is 10YS. I'm Ronaldo. Back to the studio.
On the other side of this break, Greg Thompson brings you an extended look at weather. Plus, a top 40 under 40 honoree shares what it's like to be recognized as a young professional when Our News returns.
Grand Bahama is home to a unique economic arrangement, with that arrangement between government and the Grand Bahama Port Authority under scrutiny as tensions persist.
It's not our direct responsibility to carry out these other things that people think we should be doing.
We need this to be dealt with quicker than quicker and sooner than sooner.
I have a vision for Grand Bahama, and my vision's actually bigger than my grandfather's ever was.
Watch City in Focus, the story of Freeport with Italia Hall, starting August 7th only on RTV.
This is Our News. Welcome back. We have 2 systems in the tropics that we're monitoring. One not really going to be posing a problem for us. That one is well out there in the open Atlantic. That has a very high chance for formation. The National Hurricane Center is going to continue to watch this one as it tracks towards the west-northwest. Not really going to be a problem for us, but we are going to be watching this here. This is Tropical Storm Helene, which formed earlier today. Packing winds pretty much near tropical storm conditions. Current position right now, 19.4 degrees north, 84.5 west. Winds are up to 46 miles per hour with gusts as high as 58 miles per hour. Movement is towards the west-northwest at around 12 miles per hour. The system will continue to track towards the west-northwest, threading the needle between western Cuba and into the Yucatan Peninsula, and the system will continue to make that track. But eventually this system will strengthen by tomorrow to a hurricane, Category 1, and rapidly intensify to a Cat 3 system and continue to move towards the north, just parallel to the Florida west coast. And it's going to continue to provide us with some very windy conditions starting tonight through Wednesday, and that will take us into Thursday. Some of those rain bands will also be affecting us with some showers and isolated thunderstorms. This is how the future forecast shapes up with that. Most of the moisture still staying down near the south and into the Florida Straits, but eventually as the system continues to track towards the west-northwest, we're starting to see those showers move into our area by Wednesday, and by Thursday those rain bands will continue to affect us. Very, very potent system expected to form by the middle part of this week. Boating forecast, all areas tonight through tomorrow. Caution flag in place for you boaters. Winds will be east to southeast 15 to 20 knots. They will start to become gusty at times through tomorrow. Seas running 4 to 6 feet. Your low tide is at 8:30 tonight. High tide takes place at 2:19 in the morning. Here's a look now at your national forecast. In the extended forecast over the next several days, we will see those rain bands associated with what will become Hurricane Helene start to spread across us Wednesday and Thursday. We could see some gradual clearing on Friday and Saturday, some residual moisture hanging around, but we will continue to watch the system as it stays well to the west of us. That's a look at our weather. Make it a safe night, everybody.
Thanks, Greg. Well, over the weekend, professionals at the top of their careers were celebrated at the Professional Services Top 40 Under 40 Awards. One of those honored was the Bahamas Olympic Committee Secretary General. Sasha Lightbourne has his story.
Jerron Donaldson was among awardees at the Professional Services Bahamas' Top 40 Under 40 ceremony on Saturday. Donaldson, who serves as the Secretary General for the Bahamas Olympic Committee, has had a young, storied career in sports. I asked him how it felt to receive the award.
I mean, amazing. Humility, but also to be amongst a group of young individuals, some who I've known for a while and some I've just met, and seems to be a great room. And for what some of them have accomplished, they're very humble about it. So it was a great night and a great time to see Bahamian excellence on display.
And he described the recognition in the sports arena as, quote, top tier.
It bodes well, and we need that. We need to promote ourselves. We need to promote what we do every day in sports. People only probably see the end result, and it's like a parent raising a child or a farmer growing a plant or a flower, and you're seeing the end result, which is the blossom, seeing the gold medal, seeing the championship won. But there's a series of getting there and a long road to getting there and the journey, and I think we need to tell that story more.
Donaldson himself started out as an athlete, then a coach, and now in sports administration. He shared his opinion about the future of Bahamians in sports.
I think sports is on the move. I think sports it's big, and I think, like I said, this here now being promoted, that you have sports people in the room with the economists, with the doctors, with the lawyers, with the finance people. I think that bodes well, and that shows that sports has been on the move. And this just didn't start today. It's, as we know with development, it's a journey.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Sasha Lightbourne.
Congratulations, Daron, and thank you so much for joining us for Our News Tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Megan Shepherd. We'll see you right back here tomorrow night. Have a safe and wonderful evening.